What's up? We're back. We're gonna do some chicken kebabs. Salt, pepper, oregano. Keep it simple. Get the skewers here made out of bamboo. My daughter Isabella right here. Victorinox. See how sharp that is. I may put some bell peppers in between. We'll see.
Yay. What about onions?
Yeah. Organic chicken from the organic farm. All right, so I've added salt, pepper, oregano, olive oil, Bragg, good stuff here. Probably add some garlic powder in there, and then we have bell peppers. Got some orange ones, I got yellow ones, and I got a red one. And then onion. Onion makes the world go round. This belongs in every meal, onion. So, cut it up. Might need 2 onions. You never know. My mother, she still says this: if you cut an onion and you get very teary-eyed, she says the farmer farted a lot when he was planting these things, and that's where the tears come from. That is not true. Wives' tale. Love onion, garlic. You know what I really love? Cilantro. I can't get enough cilantro in me. I love cilantro. I used to eat a lot more years ago. Love cilantro. and I discovered it by accident. I was in downtown LA. This is decades ago, a long time ago. And I went to this taco place, authentic Mexican taco. Had a line, like 20 people. I had to wait through that line. And when I got there, you know, I knew about the hot sauce and all that. So he says, what do you want on it? And I said, everything. So that's onion, cilantro, and he goes, you want hot sauce or medium? I go, give me the hot sauce. So he puts a little bit of the, well, not a little bit, but he put a cup full of hot sauce in about 2 tacos that day, full of cut chicken, delicious. And he put me a ton of cilantro with onions. I had no idea what cilantro was during that moment. And I went up over there by a table, I sat down and I started eating it, and the cilantro spoke to me. I said to myself, that's cilantro, and I've been missing this my whole life. Big fan of cilantro. I cannot go to Vegas where they have the buffet. I know, buffet, where they have the buffet. I can't go there and not eat a bunch of tacos with a bunch of cilantro and onions. Can't do it. Some people, they don't like cilantro. They have a genetic predisposition not to like it. I'm not one of those people. I love parsley too, but I love cilantro more. You know, some people, they don't like anchovies. I like anchovies. I think that might be enough. I want to tell this story again. I've told it before, but it came to my mind, so I'm going to mention it again. When I was 5 years old, I had an aunt who lived in an apartment building where 90% of the occupants were Chinese, 95, maybe more. So one time I went to visit her, 5 years old, and had a cold, nasty cold. Caught it person-to-person contact. A virus came into my system. I did not get that cold because I went out in the cold air without a hat. That did not happen. A lot of people still say that. I find that ridiculous. It really annoys me. So, had a really bad cold. And my aunt says to my mother, there's an old Chinese woman 2 floors down, and she has some medicine, and what you do with it is you put it inside the Vicks, this secret recipe thing, and mix it, and then put it on his back and his front, and then go to sleep, and the next day he's going to be like a canary. So after our visit, my aunt came down with us. She knocked on the door, and I don't know, 30 seconds went by, and a little woman opens up the door, Chinese lady, was probably back then, I don't know, early 70s. And my aunt even though the Chinese lady did not speak English, my aunt gave her the meaning with her hands, kind of explained to her what was going on, and she goes, "Oh, okay." And I looked inside the apartment, and it was kind of like a Shaolin temple. Had candles going, it had chimes, and very peaceful, very peaceful. And so she comes back about a minute later with a little vial, about that big, and she explained in her very broken English what to do. Add this to the Vicks, she said, mix it well. And so we thanked her, free of charge. Nice lady. We left, went home, and had some Vicks. My mother took that potion and mixed it with the Vicks, put it on my back. Then I went to sleep, and at around 2 a.m., the Vicks was on steroids. You know when you put menthol, like a York peppermint patty, and you get that cool sensation? Well, multiply that by 100. And I got up in the middle of the night, and I was freezing from this Super Vicks. I went to the bathroom, and I was like really cold, and I washed it off me. Next day I said to my mother, "Throw that stuff out." I go, "Don't ever use that again." She said, "Why?" I go, "Just, I don't want it." And then 20 years after that, I would see a Vicks bottle in the medicine cabinet, and I would say, "Did you not throw that out?" And she's like, no. She goes, "That's that's a new one. The old one," she goes, "we tossed." From that point to now, I've never used Vicks again, because I didn't trust that she threw out that Vicks. Did not trust her. I was thinking, they're probably thinking, why waste it? But, and here's the other thing. For decades, I had no idea what that stuff was. I had no idea. So one day I'm in Chinatown, not too far from here, a few miles, and I went into one of those herbal places, Chinese herbs. I was in there, and they had the Chinese medicine section, and they had the Chinese tea section. So I started looking at stuff, and it popped into my head. I go, "I wonder what that stuff was that they gave me back when I was a kid." So they had samples of each thing they were selling, and I would open it up and take a little sniff, put it back. Well, I got to the one that I smelled, and I go, "This is it." Immediately, smells bring you back to the moment wherever you were when you first smelled that thing. So if you smell skunk now, it'll bring you back to the first time you smelled skunk. And music is the same way for me. I hear a song that I liked back in 1983, and when I hear that song, it brings me back to 1983. Well, smell is the same thing for me. And I smell this thing, and I go, "This is it. This is it." And plus, it said after, when I figured out what it was, I read the thing, and it was for flu, colds, things like that. It's applied to the body, and the name of it is White Tiger. Not the eye of the tiger, but White Tiger. They still sell it, but I'm not buying it. Unnecessary. Anyway, I'm gonna mix this up. All right, let's begin skewering. I will say though that I love going to Chinatown, Little Tokyo. I'm a big fan of the stores there. There's a store in Chinatown, 2 stories. The bottom floor has I don't know, a couple of 100 pounds of dried mushrooms that people take, ginseng, and you name it, tea, you name it, they have it. And then upstairs has the herbal medicine, Chinese medicine. It has pots and pans, all kind of cool kettles. So I go up, and I haven't been there in a while, but I used to go quite often, and big fan. And Little Tokyo, same thing. So we put chicken, onions, peppers, you know, variation. There was a guy in Chinatown. He owned one of those Chinese medicine places, and I would go in there, look around, and he looked to me like he was about 85, but he had his hair jet black. Looked like he did it with kiwi shoe polish. So everything else looked old on him except the hair. The hair was jet black. I want to tell him, you know, you don't need to do that. You look fine. If your hair was white, you look fine. You don't have to do the jet black thing. You're not fooling anybody. And maybe he says, I don't want to fool anybody. I don't care about anybody. I do it because I look in the mirror and I like seeing a person that has jet black hair. You know, maybe that's what he's doing it for. That's fine. But if you're doing it because you think it makes you look 30 years younger, it does not. And I don't know if he's still around, but I will say that Sylvester Stallone was so impressed with this guy that there are pictures of Sylvester Stallone in that store visiting. And I guess the guy said, can we take some pictures with you? It's good publicity. So there's like maybe 15 pictures in there with Stallone and this guy like explaining stuff in the picture. He's like, and Stallone is like, you know, looking. So yeah, I'd go by there once in a while. Interesting to me. I like that. Different cultures, very interesting. Every culture has something special. Every culture. No matter what. It's good to be exposed to different backgrounds. But I used to go down Chinatown and buy tea from China. And the lady, she had like maybe 30 or 40 different tea types. And she would open up a book and say to me, which one? And I would point. And then she'd say, oh, very good. Yeah. But I will say I am very impressed with Japanese cooks, chefs. Very impressed. And carpenters. Just talent that's unbelievable. Unbelievable. And growing up, big fan of the Shaolin Temple in China. Kung Fu with David Carradine. Love that show. Master Po. Love the wisdom. Master Khan. There's a place down in San Pedro where the actor Philip On, his father brought back a belt from I think it was Korea as a friendship thing, and so it's there. And occasionally I go down there and ring it. He did a lot for the community around LA. Good man. And I don't know if he's still around, but well, Philip On died, but the brother, he had a brother who was a little bit younger, and last I checked he was still, you know, with us, but that was a long time ago. He might have died, who knows. I'd like to meet him, tell him how much of a fan I was of his brother. Yep, shows that made an impression on me. That Kung Fu show was one of them. And you know, it's one of those weird things, but The Odd Couple made a big impression on me. The music, Dun, 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 dun. When I hear that, I remember being a kid and thinking, what's this life thing? Where are we? What's going on here? You know, I always found it strange, like I was looking into a secret vision of the future. You know, this odd couple thing. That's how you become when you grow up like them. Of course, I mentioned this before also. $6 Million Man. You'd have a hard time finding someone who was a bigger fan of that show than I was. I lived that show. The sounds of the Bionics were in my head 24/7. I thought at one point when the show was at the height of popularity that I would meet Lee Majors somewhere, somehow. And it may happen. You never know. He's still around. I want to tell him how influential he was in my life. Just something about that, the Bionics, the whole sound of it, you know. I know he said that the sound effects were kind of like annoying to him. They were corny. Not to me. To me, they were not corny at all. I love those sound effects. And to a lesser degree, I like the Bionic Woman. Those are shows that they spoke to me. And as a kid, they were more impressive than they are now as an adult. You know, now I find the plots a little bit thin. To get to a newer show, 911, both of them, Texas and California. Good shows. Reminds me of that show Emergency, back in the old days. Smells good, but I don't eat raw chicken. I will eat raw beef. I've eaten raw beef in the past, not in the recent past, but when I was a lot younger. But raw chicken I will not eat. Raw pork I will not eat. Sushi, I'm a big fan of sushi. Love sushi. Sanford and Son. Love that show, man. I can't tell you how, even now, how much I enjoy watching Sanford and Son, the original series, not the one that had that Cal guy. I didn't like that one that much. but the original with Aunt Esther, Bubba, Grady, Lamont. Love that show. Love that house. I actually have been to the location where they used the front for the Sanford and Son opening credits. Yeah, it's a plumbing store now. And I'm a big fan of the Junkyard. So that show speaks to me on many levels. And the characters, those are my style. My style of characters. Got Julio next door with the goat. I think he just died. Gregory, what was his name? Gregory Sierra. Huge fan of his. I think he was on the Electra Company. In the old days, we used to watch a lot of game shows. They don't have that many anymore. With Nipsey Russell. Used to rhyme things. Smells really good. Yeah, I love Indian food. Very tasty. Every culture, I mean, I haven't tried every culture's food, but the ones I've tried, I've not been disappointed. Every culture has its, tasty meals. Every culture contributes. And I feel almost done. Taking a while. Yeah, we're done. I'll tell you a garlic story in a minute. That's it. That's it. Got like a little mountain here. Okay, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, we're good to go. So my garlic story is years ago I would take garlic bulbs and I'd crush them up into little pieces, and then I'd add olive oil, mix it up with the garlic, and then with a tablespoon I would eat it like you eat cereal and a piece of toast. So did that for a bit, and I started off with one bulb, not clove, bulb, big one, and I ate that, and then after that I did 2, and my record, my personal record, is 2.5 bulbs in one sitting. So I mixed it up with olive oil and spooned it in, chewed it up, and it's hard to believe how hot garlic gets. Garlic gets very hot. It's like eating hot peppers. So I don't plan on breaking that record anytime soon, but that's my record, 2.5 bulbs, raw garlic with a slice of toast. And then you smell like garlic for like 24 hours. It will not go away. And why? People say, why'd you do that? Because I was hungry.